Welcome to What's the Score, a series solely dedicated to the support of Central Florida's small business and entrepreneurs. Donated as a community service by AM 660 The Answer and Salem Communications. Now, here's Christopher Hart and Rich Jaeckle.
Welcome to What's the Score? That's right, folks. You have tuned into the only show of its kind, the show that's going to help you come up with that competitive edge with your business. Hi, I'm Christopher Hart of the American Adversaries Radio Show, and I'm joined in the studio by Rich Jaeckle of SCORE. Rich, how you doing?
I'm fine, Christopher. So happy to be here with you today.
All right, and we're also joined today by Paul McNally. Paul, once again, thank you for being a part of the show.
Thank you, Chris. It's great to be here.
And once again, Paul is also a member of SCORE. These fellas are mentors. And if you're not familiar with SCORE, it's an organization that is free to the user where you have experienced, some retired, some active business professionals who are there to help mentor you with your business to help give you that competitive edge. And we're not broadcasting live today. And one reason we're not is because there is a gentleman who is running for Congress who has decided to take advantage of the power of radio, which is one of the things that we're trying to point out on this show. And that is, folks, if you want to increase your exposure in the community, if you want to increase your prestige in the community, radio is the way to go. And this gentleman has taken advantage of this slot on Saturday morning that we had been doing the show live, and we're only too happy because it demonstrates that the power of radio still exists, and perhaps even more than ever. And that's, once again, why SCORE is here. Is that not right, Rich?
Absolutely. We believe in the power of radio and advertising. And we thank the radio station for the community service that it's providing us.
Now, because we're not live, we still want to be able to handle your questions, though. We have come up with a plan. Rich, what would that plan be?
Okay, what was it? I forgot.
People can call us. They can email us, right?
Yeah.
All right. You can call or email SCORE with your questions. And the phone number that you would call is 407-420-4844. You can call them anytime between 9 and 5, Monday through Friday, and just say, hey, I was listening to the guys on the radio this weekend, and I have a question that I'd like to pass along. And we will take your questions and answer them on the air, will we not, Paul?
That's correct. And you can also email us at score@nationalec.org.
All right, that's score@nationalec.org with your questions. And we'll be happy to field those questions for you.
Yeah, we don't want you calling while you're driving or texting while you're driving. So, if you've got topics, questions, comments, especially critiques of either Paul or Chris, they're very welcome here.
And once again, we are looking forward to helping you come up with that winning combination for your business or your business idea. That's really what SCORE is all about. And to that end, Rich, folks who have been listening to the show several of them have been asking me, well, how did Rich get involved in SCORE? Could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Absolutely, but I have to kind of colorize it, don't I? Or
maybe sanitize it is the right word.
Sanitize. That's it.
All right. Yeah.
Sanitize.
Okay.
Well, I got out of the military in '68, and no, not 1868. It was 1968.
Could have fooled me.
Yeah. Thank you. Figured I'd say that before you guys did. And went into what was an infant type of industry at that time for IT technology.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And started out in technology in its infancy and stayed with it for 45 years. I was an executive for a small company that wanted to expand, and they had cash to expand. So they brought me in to head up the expansion. We were about a $3 million company at that point in time. I was the vice president in charge of operations and expansion, and we grew it to close to $400 million. And that's when I retired in 2001, and here I am.
So you helped grow a company by over 100%, or 100 times what it was, I should say. That's even more than 100%, 100 times.
Absolutely, yeah. And we had, like I started 25 offices across the U.S. and Puerto Rico. And we got in a rhythm where we learned from the first few offices what not to do. And by that, we were able to hone that process and bring the new offices up to profitability in half the time as when we started.
You know, that you mentioned that, I can remember Herman Cain talking about his same experiences in the pizza restaurant business, is that he went to the franchises that were the most successful, found out what they were doing, then went to the least successful and found out what they were doing, and obviously had people do what the successful ones were doing and not do what the unsuccessful. So the point I'm trying to make here is, and that we've been pointing this out as the show has been going on, is that it is as important to know what will make you fail as to what will make you succeed, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what we try to do at SCORE. We try to help you avoid these failures and these missteps that we learned through experience.
Now, you were this executive. You had tremendous success at this company. You retired. How did you get involved with SCORE? What was the connecting dots there?
Well, actually, a friend of mine over in Tampa knew that I was just kicking around and said, well, you know, what you'd really like is this organization called SCORE. I said, what is it? And obviously, it went from there. I was located here in Orlando. I gave them a call, and the next day they had recruited me and brought me in. And so I've been a member ever since, and it's about 13 years ago.
What do you get out of it that's made you want to do it for 13 years?
Oh, I love helping people, and the feeling of seeing people click when they get an idea, or they come in and say, I don't understand why I'm not making it here. And we talk about it and find out that they're lacking in sales, or lacking in marketing or operations or funding. So once we sit down with these people for an hour or so, and there are unlimited sessions with us. We are mentors, so you can come back as many times as you want for free.
And as a matter of fact, you have some clients who go away, more or less, and then end up coming back later on, maybe years later, once again to seek out your help.
Absolutely. I've had some that relocated from the north that were actively involved in SCORE when they started out 10 years earlier, and they'd had such good luck with it, or good experience, not luck, and they decided to start another small business in Florida, so they came right back to us.
And that's another great thing about SCORE, is it is nationwide.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We have, how many offices now, Paul?
I think it's about 250.
Yeah.
Around the country.
Yeah, 10,000 volunteers.
So, folks, if you're out there listening here in Central Florida and you have a relative or a friend in another state who may be expressing to you a predicament that they're in with their business, or they have a great idea, send them to the SCORE in their area. And you can find out about the SCORE, any of the SCOREs in the country, simply going to score.org, can you not?
Yes, that's right. Score.org is the national website, and you can get information unlimited on there. I mean, things about templates for your business plan, or ideas about business, such as they have completed business plans for actual businesses like restaurants, auto dealers, any kind of business that you've got, they've got actual examples of the business plans.
And that is a huge godsend, because it's one thing to try to explain to someone how to do this. It's another thing to say, look, this is one that you might like to pattern yours after.
There you go.
And
exactly.
I know from preparing taxes, for instance, it can be very helpful to see, how it is done by someone else in that particular instance.
Okay, Chris, I just found something out here. Did you know that Florida in 2013 and 2014 ranked number 2 in the nation for best state to start businesses?
I did not know that. with, of course, Rick Scott, the governor of the state, would I'm sure be pleased by that news, because certainly that has been one of his objectives as the governor of Florida. I would have thought certainly that Texas probably would have been number one, but I don't think I would have picked Florida for number two.
Yeah, it's fertile for small businesses.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the land of opportunity right here in Central Florida. And certainly it was that way back in the 60s when Walt Disney was spying around town here. Yeah. And but now when you say that, are you seeing a reciprocal influx of people wanting to open new businesses?
We have been seeing a steady increase over the last 6 months. It was flat last year because of the economy. But this year, I think people are saying, hey, I got to do this. I don't care what the economy is. This is a good idea. I've got the money now saved up, so I'm going to go ahead.
Paul, let me ask you, you're a business broker. Have you seen the same sort of uptick in your business?
We have. We've seen definitely more interest, more people looking to buy a business. Prior to last year, we had more sellers out there trying to sell for various reasons, and there weren't as many buyers, but we're seeing that start to even out.
Well, that's a positive sign, certainly for the economy, and a positive sign, I believe, obviously for Central Florida, when you're saying that's happening right here and the state is ripe for new businesses. So hopefully that trend will continue throughout the rest of this year.
Yeah, and this was no flunky magazine. This was chief executive officers.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation. We're going to also be talking about today's key to success, and we're going to focus a little bit more on capitalization, because obviously that's going to be a key to even starting a business. So you'll want to stick around for that. Once again, you are listening to What's the Score, the show designed to help you come up with that winning combination for your business or your business idea. And we are being provided as a public service by AM 660 The Answer and Salem Communications. And once again, if you would like to email a question to us, we'll take that at the email address, please, Paul.
score@nationalec.org.
Okay, or you can call with that question Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, right here in Orlando. 407-420-4844 is that number. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to What's the Score? And we want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening in on this show. It is designed to help you and your business come up with that winning combination for success. I am Christopher Hart, and I'm talking today with Rich Jaeckle and Paul McNally, both of SCORE. Once again, gentlemen, thank you for being with us today.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. We were just talking in the first segment, Rich, about how you became involved with SCORE, became a mentor, have been now for 13 years, find a great deal of satisfaction in that. What if there's someone out there who's retired, or maybe even not retired, still in the business community as a professional or entrepreneur, and would like to also offer up their expertise and their experience? Can they do that?
Absolutely. We are always looking for more volunteers. People with variety of different skills. We've got 65 counselors right now, and I'll bet you can't find 2 of them that have the same background and experience. So that's what the client is getting. He's getting 65 different experienced background people. So we're always looking for the group of skills.
And once again, they just like people who are looking for the services at SCORE, you can call SCORE if you would like to become a mentor at their Orlando office. That's 407-420-4844. Or you can go to their website, orlando.score.org. In either case, they'll set up an interview with you where you'll come in and actually be interviewed and go from there.
That's right. You have to have business experience. In other words, you either have to have started a business or been an executive level at a business.
All right. Now, also, SCORE is there for all business people, but perhaps in particular, it's there for perhaps 3 categories of people. And that would be people who are starting a business, people who have a business and are struggling and need help, or people who have a business that is successful, but they want to be even more successful, right, Paul?
That's correct. If you want to take it up to the next level, we have a great program to help those people to try to go from where they're at right now to over the next 1 to 3 years, set goals and work with a group to help achieve those goals.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Once again, folks, remember, SCORE is there for you, whether you're successful or whether you're just starting out and need help. They are there for you. All right. Each week we've been doing a segment of the show called Keys to Success. And some of the keys to success you may think are obvious. Others are not so. Some of them are do's. Some of them are don'ts. Some of them are just a little bit more general in concept. And that's going to be the one we talk about today, because we're going to focus in on capitalization. This isn't necessarily a do or a don't, because we all have to come up with capitalization to run a business. The only question is how and where. And it is probably the biggest obstacle, I think, to starting a business. Is it not, Paul?
Yeah, I would say that most of the people, probably a good percentage, 35 to 40% of the people that come in to see us at SCORE are looking for, how do I raise money? Where do I come up with the money to get my business off the ground or to buy a business?
And what do you tell them, Rich?
Well, we tell them generally, we're not a financial institution here. We are a group of counselors, mentors, trainers. We do not have funding. We can't reach in our desk drawer and pull out $10,000 for a grant. There are no grants anymore, except in the green area. If you're doing something in the green environmental areas, there are grants available for that. But as far as loans go, very, very few banks are lending to startups. For business expansion, that's another story. But you have to have credit. And your credit in general has to be over 700.
700 score. Credit score. Paul, as a matter of fact, some banks can't lend monies to startup. Is that correct?
That's correct. In the some of the charters on federal banks, they're not allowed to help startups. But as Rich was saying, if they've got some history, if the company has some history and they're using it for expansion, that money is available. One of the ways that people have used banks for a startup is maybe getting a home equity loan or borrowing against some asset that they have. That way, if they've got the collateral, the bank can lend the money against that asset, and then they can use that money to start up their business.
All right. What about the Small Business Administration? They used to give out loans for startups, did they not? Are they still in business? What's the deal with those guys?
Are they still in business?
Yep.
Yes.
They are in business. The Small Business Administration does not lend money. What they do is they guarantee the loans for the banks. So you still have to go through the bank, all of the bank procedures. The bank actually has to approve you first. And then once the bank has approved you, they'll go to the Small Business Administration, known as the SBA, and the SBA will review, and if it meets all of their criteria, then that is an option, and they will guarantee the bank to the loan or a certain percentage of the bank, of the loan to the bank, and then you go forward and you're paying the bank on that.
Yes, it's actually an insurance policy. So the SBA basically, you pay 2% interest to the SBA, and the SBA guarantees the bank that 80% of the loan will be paid by the government.
And so you will still have the same obstacles in order to get a bank loan with or without the SBA.
They're not as stringent because your credit can be a little bit less, like 650.
Okay, but you'll have to work with the bank in order to get to the SBA.
Exactly, and the key to that whole thing, the SBA or any bank, is you need a business plan. You need a business plan. SCORE offers a seminar on how to write your business plan, where the attendees actually sit down, go through section by section, and write the business plan in the class. It's a 3-hour class. There are counselors there helping and assisting. the attendees, and when you come out of that class, you've got the skeleton of your business plan.
In fact, Rich, the next seminar that's going to happen, Building Your Business Plan, is on August 13th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Entrepreneurial Center.
And how often do these seminars repeat?
Monthly.
Once a month.
Once a month.
Once a month. But again, don't go to a bank or anything else without a business plan. Business plan does not have to be gigantic. It can be anywhere from 5 to 10 pages only.
And banks are not looking for great ideas, are they?
No, sir.
What are they looking for?
Great ideas have great risk. So they are looking for, how soon am I going to get paid back?
That's basically all they care about is, are they going to make some money on their loan, namely by getting it paid back?
Right. Is this realistic? Are they being realistic in their projection of how fast they can take off? Guys, your business in general takes about 3 to 6 months ramp-up time, in which time period you will make $0 to negative dollars in profit. So when Paul talks about capitalization, he's going to talk about this ramp-up period that you have to be capitalized to cover yourself for the first 3 to 6 months. Right, Paul?
Paul?
That's correct, and that's all part of the business plan, is trying to find out where that break-even point is going to be, where you'll be able to start drawing a paycheck, basically, from the company. So you need to figure out the total amount of money is needed when you go to try to get your financing, or whether you're going to family and friends to raise money, or
dipping into your savings.
Exactly. Dipping into your savings, your retirement plan, or wherever you're getting that cash.
Right.
Yeah, there are no zero-down loans. You got to have skin in the game, guys. So you're going to have to put up 10 to 20% on average of what the loan amount is.
Regardless.
You know, we were talking earlier about the seminar for Building Your Business Plan. We also have one called Funding Your Business that talks about many of these options that we're talking about. And the next Funding Your Business seminar is on August 20th, also from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
And that repeats monthly as well.
That's right.
I presume if people go to your website, and I have to admit I've been to your website, but I haven't actually done this, can they see the list of all of the seminars and the dates and locations?
They can see the dates, they can see the locations, when they're running, and they sign up there also.
And the description of the seminar.
Right, and that would be at orlando.score.org is that website. And now, Paul, you are a business broker. Now, when people come to you, do they normally have a pocket full of money if they're buying?
Well, not in all cases, and depending on the size of the business that they're buying, the options differ. We have a lot of seller financing where somebody, if they're selling a business, is willing to take back part of that price as a loan over the next 3 years, 5 years. It might be 1 year. So that is one option when you're buying an existing business. But in a lot of cases, they've got the same situation as when you're going after a startup, where they're going for an SBA loan or going for a home equity loan or something like that to raise the money. Cash is necessary to get in a business.
Now, you being a business broker, if somebody's out there and would like to talk to you about buying or selling their business, how can they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me. My phone number is 407-403-4455, or they can email me at paul@abcbrokerage.com.
paul@abcbrokerage.com. And you're local, right?
I am local. My office is in Altamont, and they can also find me on my website, which is www.centralfloridabusinessbroker.com.
Is there any one particular kind of business that you focus on, or do you handle all types of businesses?
We handle all types of business. My specialization is restaurants because it's the background that I had most of my career. But we handle all types of business. Just did an auto body shop this week, and there are many, many different businesses that we've got listed, and you can see that at my website.
When a business comes in and lists with you, is there an average turnaround that they might expect?
Depends on there's a lot of particulars that go into play on that. It depends on how bad they want to sell and what price they will sell the business at. And
I would presume perhaps the type of business might have some bearing on that as well, would it?
Absolutely. We participate with a large group of other business brokers of Florida, which is about 1,000 brokers. And we do have a multiple listing system of businesses. So not only is it me trying to sell your business when we have it listed, but we've got another 1,000 brokers that are trying to sell that same business if they can match up with one of their buyers.
Do they need a business plan?
Absolutely. If they're going for money, they will definitely need to have a business plan. And the business plan is your map to success. If you're not putting it on paper, most likely you're not going to achieve your goals.
As we pointed out on the show last week, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we have to take a break now. When we come back from the break, we'll continue the conversation. You are listening to What's the Score? A great new show, the only one of its kind here in Central Florida, and it is designed for you, the business person, to help you get that winning edge. Please don't go away, because when we come back, we have a whole lot more, and we're going to talk about marketing versus sales. Okay, welcome back to What's the Score, folks? The show designed to help you come up with that winning edge in business. I am Christopher Hart, and I'm in the studio once again with Rich Jaeckle and Paul McNally of Score. So, Rich, you wanted to ask a question right before we went to the break.
I certainly did, and I wanted to ask you, Chris, what's the difference between sales and marketing?
Now, you didn't tell me you were going to embarrass me here, because here I'm a businessman, and I'm not so sure I know the answer to that.
Obviously, that's not too difficult.
Well, thank you very much. I think I'll hand it off here to Paul McNally, though. I think he's got a better idea of the difference between sales and marketing. What is that, Paul?
Well, sales and marketing are two different areas that are often confused by people going into business. A lot of people think that is one task, but actually it's two separate tasks that work simultaneously with each other. Basically, the definition, sales, is all about selling what you have, the product or the services that you have, selling it to the end user, to the customer, where marketing is trying to align your products or services with the customer now and for the future to keep the name of the business or your brand out there.
So when you're marketing, should you maybe not always expect a lot of sales to result from that? Is that what you're trying to say here?
Well, that's correct. What happens is in the marketing side, you're sending the message out to masses of people and not necessarily seeing exact results. Sales is more of the one-to-one, where you're dealing directly with the customer and actually making something happen where money may change hands.
So when we watch commercials on TV, they're not selling to us, they're marketing to us?
They're marketing to us. They're trying to put thoughts in our minds to try to make us want their product or find out if that product's going to fit our needs or wants.
Well, you hear a lot of it's being bandied about the term branding. Does a small business need branding?
Well, branding is important to the big companies. You take a Coca-Cola or you take any of these big companies that have branded names where they're selling the brand. To a small business, the branding is not as important as what is unique with the item that you're trying to sell or the service that you are trying to sell. You want to get the message out to the customer on what's in it for them and how you can fit that need.
Okay, so marketing is more of defining your target market, and sales is more, how do I sell to them?
Correct. For example, you're telling the story to many people with marketing of your business or service, but in sales, those stories become real for the customer on how that can benefit them.
How that can benefit them. That's the key thing in sales, isn't it?
Absolutely. What's in it for me?
Well, let me ask you this. In particular, for, say, a new startup, what should be their thinking in terms of marketing versus sales? Because you're telling me that it's two different things, basically. Should they spend more time marketing their new business or more time selling their product or service?
Both are important, and both you have to have balance. And a lot of times people will say, well, I've got a great service and I'm a great salesperson, but if they're not good at marketing and they're just selling, your people don't already know the story. You're starting from scratch each particular sales pitch that you're doing, where if you've got marketing behind it, they're telling the story to the masses?
Well, in my mind, marketing includes profiling or defining your client base that you're going after, the target market, such as demographics. Where do they live? New and emerging businesses that you can market to, neighborhoods particularly. How about average incomes? That's important to some of you out there because you're marketing a upscale service like car detailing that comes to you, for instance.
Rich, where would you find that information?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. You go to, what I've found always the best place to go to is the Orlando Economic Development Commission.
Do they have a website?
Yes, they do. And the website is www.orlandoedc.com.
Can you spell Orlando out?
Yes.
Orlando
EDC, Economic Development Commission.com. Now, that has demographics. It has facts about the Orlando area. It has testimonials. It has where I should start my business, etc.
It's one thing to know what your demographic is, and obviously you need to know that so that you can target them. But how do you know how to reach that demographic?
There you go. Perfect. The reaching the demographic comes from the sales.
And there's a lot of different ways to try to reach them. The big one these days is through social media. That's one of the big ways that is used for marketing. Marketing is typically media-driven, and there are very, very many ways that you can go about it. Social media, word of mouth is a way of marketing, print, television. One of the best ways to market is on the radio. That's a great way to market your business. Billboards, events, direct mail, flyers, brochures, and even what we call four walls marketing, marketing to your present customers within your business to try to upgrade them or sell them more products.
I'm glad that you mentioned radio, because radio is still one of the main sources that people go to for everyday information, be it news, be it sports information, whatever they're looking for on the radio or in their lives, they go to the radio to find it. And so it is an excellent outlet to market your product or service.
Right. The big thing nowadays, we get a lot of clients in there that just say, okay, well, I built my website. Why aren't people coming to me? And they all are using the term SEO, which is Search Engine Optimizer, which when you Google a service, their particular business comes out in the top 10. Now, when you're surfing the internet, how many businesses do you look at when you're after a particular business?
How many?
Google come up with thousands of businesses. How many do you look at?
Probably the average person, a couple or three.
Very good.
Page one.
Page one.
Page one is aggressive. I usually just go to the first three.
Yep.
And if I don't see keywords on those first three, then I'm done. I'll go on.
So it is important then for you to be in that position.
It is, but think about it. If you're in that position, how many of you can be in that position? How many of you can be number 1 to number 5 in Google search engine?
Well, if we use the president's math, probably millions. But obviously only the 5. Right.
Well,
so how do people overcome that?
By getting a good, not a web designer, but a network designer that has broken the code, for instance, of how to get in the top 5 of Google.
And do you have people at SCORE that can mentor people in that aspect of?
No, that is really technology-based, and it requires somebody who knows what to do in today's current market.
We do have a couple of partners that we have partnered up with that do run some seminars on some of the things to do to try to help your social media and get yourself set for it and where to go to find the proper webmaster that can help you with that search engine optimization.
If you think that just because you built a website that people are going to come running to you, you're sadly mistaken, because generally they don't even know you. So it still takes sales to the public to get the word out about your website. That's the whole idea of sales, is to get information to have people go to your website.
So you still need sort of the traditional marketing tools in order to enhance your social media marketing.
Absolutely. And a lot of times you're using that website as an electronic brochure, and some of your other marketing and your other media that you're using, you're trying to use that to drive your customers to the website so that they can learn more about you.
And that's, once again, where the traditional sources like radio can come in and help you out tremendously.
That's right.
And once again, folks, now, if you have questions about marketing and the things that we're talking about, or just about a particular business question in general, we will be happy to answer those questions. And you can either call SCORE during the week, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, at 407-420-4844, and just say, hey, I have a question for the SCORE, what's the SCORE radio show? And it'll get to us and we'll answer it. Or you can email directly at score@nationalec.org. All right, that's score@nationalec.org.
And don't forget that the service is free. So if you call and mention the radio station that you heard us on the radio, we'll give you a discount.
Hey, that's fantastic. All right.
Took you a minute, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm a little slow on the uptake there. Marketing versus sales. Okay, so we've marketed and we've got people coming in the door. Sales, how does that now click in? What's the big difference now that I've marketed to them, I've gotten them into my establishment or got them to call me? What do I do now to transfer over to actually selling them?
I've got a question to lay out for you two guys.
All right.
And now, in the times that we're living in now, with the media the way it is, social media the way what is, are business cards still important?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Should I, for instance, be ready with a business card?
Absolutely. Now, question I'm going to throw back at you, is the business card marketing or is the business card sales?
I would say marketing.
I would say both.
Absolutely. I think that the business card definitely tells, you've got a very small space, but you can tell a story of your business on the business card. And you want to make sure that you put a lot of thought into the design of the business card. It also is going to tell, how do they get a hold of me? And that's going to be an important thing, too, where they can put it in their pocket and they know where to call to get more information or to actually make that sale happen.
And what about image? What kind of image does your business card portray, or what do you want it to portray?
It's first impression. Definitely when it's put in somebody's hand, that's going to give them, that's that first minute that they're going to make a decision on whether you're a Class A organization or a Class B organization. So you want to make sure that that business card tells the message.
Okay. And speaking of telling the message, we're trying to bring the message to you folks that SCORE is there for you. If you've got a business idea or you already have an existing business, they are there to help you. And you can get that help simply by calling 407-420-4844. You can go to orlandoscott.score.org to find out general information. And if you have a question for us here on the radio show, please email us at score@nationalec.org, or you can call that same number, 407-420-4844. We would love to answer your questions. However, we have to take the break now, but when we come back, we'll talk more about sales and marketing. Welcome back to What's the Score, the show designed to help you as a business person or entrepreneur find that winning combination for your endeavor. Folks, one of the best ways, we've been talking about marketing this morning, one of the best ways to market your business is radio. Traditional airwave radio is still the most listened to format that people go to seek news and music. That's right, folks. Even with all the iTunes and everything out there, people go to the radio to hear those new tunes. That's where they go to find it. So if you would like to find out more about how radio can help you, I invite you to call Paul Proley at Salem Communications. His phone number is 407-618-1769. Paul can help you either by advertising on the station, or he can help you design a show like this one that you can really enhance the prestige of your business. Radio is still a great format to do that. So please call Paul Proley at Salem Communications, 407-618-1769. That's 407-618-1769. See, people are already calling because they're listening to the radio show. All right. We were talking about business cards right before the break, and Rich, you had another question before we move on.
Well, I do have a question that's bothering me. You and I talked about changing the name from What's the Score to the Dr. Jaeckle and Mr. Hart show. And, now that Paul's been a regular on here, you got to account for him. So I'm thinking Dr. Jaeckle, Mr. Hart, and Igor.
Well, as long as they don't call us the Three Stooges, I'll be fine with anything. Okay. But you had a question really about cards.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
The business card. What is the purpose of a business card? I mean, your image has got to look good. You want to definitely use both sides. A picture always looks professional. So, Paul, what is the purpose? When you hand somebody this business card, what do I want?
From a marketing standpoint, you want to drive them to your electronic brochure, which is your website.
Very good. Okay.
And then obviously you want them to call you if they want to use that traditional way. But you mentioned use both sides of the cards. That's something that's kind of new, isn't it?
Yes. It's just because on one side of the card you could have the image, like a picture and professional printing and stuff. And the other side of the card, you can mention some of your services that you provide.
Well,
Rich, I've noticed on your business card you don't put your picture, and I think that's probably a good choice.
Well, on my business card, I just usually they're blank anyway.
All right. Let me ask this. Before we went to the break, Paul, you said that's that first impression when you hand a person your business card, and you say it will sort of put you in a category of first-class business or second-class business. What are some of the things that people do on their business cards that people look at and go, oh, God, this is cheesy?
Well, one of the things is what's the quality of the stock of the business card itself? Is it a real nice stock, or is it very, very flimsy cardboard? I received a card from somebody a few weeks ago that was it was plastic like a credit card. Now, a very, very expensive card, but it was very, very impressive as far as the quality of it. So the quality of the card is good, and how it's laid out. I mean, I've seen cards that are very, very busy that you just can't understand what they're trying to say. They're not getting their message across. And I've seen cards that are very, very simple that might have, their tagline to try to help get that message across. But you want that card to do one of two things, either to drive them to your website or have them call you with their credit card number so that they can buy the service.
I know it's a basic question, but can people come to SCORE and get this sort of information and help out making a business card?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's part of what we do. I mean, somebody can bring in, we do it all the time as counselors. If somebody brings in a business card and says, what do you think of this? If it's trash, we're going to tell them, no, this doesn't portray you. You've got to portray you in your business card.
One of the things that we try to do at SCORE is not tell them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
We try to be objective and tell them really what we think. And it might be good and it might be bad. And sometimes you've got to have broad shoulders because we're trying to help them, and we're trying to be that person that they can bounce ideas off of and help bounce ideas to them. And
realistically.
Well, I was realistically. That is actually one of the best things about SCORE, because so many people in business, they're not getting that realistic feedback, whether it be from family or friends or even customers. They're not really getting a real good feel for where they are on the playing field of being a good or a bad business person.
That's correct. And I'll tell you, a lot of people, not a lot, but many people will walk out of our office not feeling too kindly about the counselor, because the counselor says, you don't have the capital to do this business. You haven't proven to me that you can make a living out of this business. or your projections are too aggressive. It takes 3 to 6 months to ramp up.
Yeah, SCORE is not there to make you feel good. SCORE is there to make you do good and be a success. And oftentimes that requires a little bit of harsh criticism. And you guys obviously are there to help. You're not there trying to make people fail. You're not there trying to make people feel bad. You're trying to help them succeed in business. And you have to give them the real world perspective.
You asked me before, what did I get out of SCORE? I get total satisfaction when somebody comes in 5 times and redoes their business plan based on what we talk about at the SCORE session, and they take it to the bank or they take it to another group where they want funding, and the other group says, wow, this is a good business plan.
All right.
That makes me feel good.
It would be sort of like a building project where you see the end result and
Right.
you're proud of it, and I can understand that. While we have some time left here, Paul, you have a chart there of some things that would distinguish what is marketing and what is sale. Let's try to go through a little bit of that.
Correct. And I'm going to throw the sales part over to Rich because he's the pro when it comes to sales. But on marketing, one of the things you're trying to do on marketing is you're trying to tell the story on your goods and services to many people with one stroke of the brush.
Whereas sales...
Meaning what? Define that better, please.
If you're going, whether it be on the radio, whether it be going on the billboard, you're telling masses of people what you're doing. So you're basically just telling the story of what you're trying to sell or the services that you're offering.
Okay, so, and by the way, radio does do demographics.
Yes.
So if I'm interested in an age level from 50 to 70, they know what times to broadcast to reach that age level, right?
It's easily determined, yes.
Okay, good. Because, when I want to pay money, I want to know I'm reaching my target market.
Absolutely. And obviously that's one of the main things you want to do is you want to target your market in terms of marketing. And then you want to target it even more when you get down to the sales level, because whereas marketing is one to the many, sales is more like one to one.
Very good. You just took my thunder.
That's what you get for embarrassing me a while ago with that question.
Okay, turn around is fair play. I always looked at, and I had hundreds and hundreds of salespeople that worked for me across the nation. I always looked as marketing to be strategic. What is the long-term goal? How do I brand my company? What do I want to be known for? Like Coca-Cola, Lowe's, Home Depot. What do I want to be known for? And sales is tactical. How do I get that message out to my customer?
All right.
Correct. And part of that tactical long-term growth that you will look at on the marketing side is they're going to analyze that big data and try to come down with averages for who to target. Where when you're in the sales, you're going to take those averages and you're going to try to close that business.
That's right. The marketing group defines the target market. The sales group implements.
An interesting thing, too, is lack of sales and lack of marketing is probably the number one reason businesses fail.
Oh, God. We have hundreds of people come through with those problems.
Well, now, lack of sales would be a direct result of lack of marketing, though, wouldn't it?
Well, it could be lack of marketing, but it could be weakness on the sales side, too. If you don't have the sales experience and the proper ways to close that business, then you can bring them as many leads as you want, and if you can't close the business, then you've got lack of sales experience.
Is this something that SCORE mentors can determine?
We can determine it, but we can't, change a Volkswagen into a Cadillac. So it's called call reluctance in the business. And if you just can't make the phone calls or the one-on-ones that are required for you to get visible and get your product known out there, you aren't going to make it in business. So you've got to change your personality, get more self-confidence. Typically, the self-confidence comes when you're comfortable with your introduction of your business. When you're comfortable, you know what your business is and you know how it's going to benefit the client.
In other words, if you feel good about your business, and you just go around expressing that, that will be the biggest sales advantage you could take, isn't it?
It shows in a minute. I mean, look at somebody in an elevator. You can see the exuberant ones, oh boy, I'm having a great day. I did this, I did that.
Right.
Versus the hangdogs who just, oh boy, I got to meet this person and I don't know what to say to them. Well, prepare before you go in. What is this client's key needs? Where is the pain? And then when you go in, address his pain, his or her pain.
And that is a basic of selling.
Exactly. It's trying to find out what the customer needs, identifying that, and solving that problem with your product.
Yeah, because you have to understand, customers don't want to buy what you're selling. They want to buy what they need or what they want. So you have to figure out what that is and then figure out how you can provide that for them.
Right. Now, take landscaping, for instance, okay? I've got 5 landscapers that are all the same price. Now, which one am I going to take?
Right.
This is a question for you guys.
And obviously,
you guys.
That's going to be the person you feel most comfortable with.
There you go. Okay, the person I trust, the person I like, the person I have the most trust in.
And the person that can solve your problem.
Exactly.
All right, folks, you need to be putting your trust in SCORE. If you are in business or you are thinking about going into business, SCORE is there for you. They are worthy of your trust because they will be real with you, they will be helpful with you, and they are there because they have the experience. They've been there, done that themselves. Rich Jaeckle, once again, thank you. And Paul McNally, once again, thank you. Once again, Paul, you're a business broker. How can people get a hold of you?
People can get a hold of me. My phone number is 407-403-4455, or they can email me at paul@abcbrokerage.com.
So listen up, folks, for our next episode of Dr. Jaeckle, Mr. Hart, and Igor.
I was waiting for something else to come there. All right. But once again, folks, if you would like to send us a question or call and give us your question, the phone number is 407-420-4844. You can email us at score@nationalec.org. We'd love to see your questions and comments, and we'd love to talk to you next time.